We're gonna keep moving down our agenda then. So I'd be happy to entertain a motion to adopt the July minutes as written unless somebody has an amendment to them.
Patrick mentioned that he thought that the vote on the nation plan, that he did not set into that concept.
I wasn't at that meeting, so
I
couldn't.
Okay, is there a motion? Is there a second?
I say.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, done and done. So old business, Jerry. SCCO bylaws.
No, let's put that off. It'd be nice if we had a general forum, so we don't only have to deal with that once.
Okay. Terry, final preparations for our August 6th concert at Awbrey.
We are all set for this Sunday at Awbrey Park from 1 to 4:30. It's a free concert, so we just invite everybody to come on out. Parking will be pretty much non-existent at the park, but certainly around the park, and we're encouraging people to walk, bring blankets and lawn chairs, and coming out. The first 100 shaved ice treats will be complimentary, and if you want to get to know neighbors and hear some music and hang out, that would be great. Also games in the park for kids and anyone else who wants to enjoy those as well.
Kids at heart.
Yes, kids at heart. Yeah,
Great.
The people at the Arrowhead Park night seem pretty excited about it.
All right.
yeah,
Everyone that heard about it.
yeah, very cool.
I've been seeing the sandwich boards, so.
Yes,
They
thank
think
you.
it's visible.
Yes. And we will have event signs too. And on either
And
side.
these events are a great place to network with residents, Santa Clara folks, and get problems there if you can, or discuss.
Yeah.
And the more people you know, the more people can have an open discussion. So
And throw a football.
And throw a football.
So under new business, can we move? Yeah. Under new business, the Navigation Center has finalized their good neighbor agreement, which was sent out by Gary Wildish. So it's forward. I will resend it, but expect that you should look at it and we could approve it, and then it needs to be signed by myself if we agree that that's what our level of responsibility is as a good neighbor to the Navigation Center.
Thank you.
So that'll come.
Do we have to have a motion for that, or just?
No, I think I'm just gonna send it to y'all and then.
It's
we-
14 pages.
I've read it.
Well, yeah, you've read it, but that was.
Okay, and next new business, the Neighborhood Leaders Council that meets the last Tuesday of every month no longer has chair and co-chair for a year or two at a time. It is now rotating every 2 months, and next month, our own PK is the chair, and so he has an update about what we may or may not choose to do with that.
Want to give the meeting update?
You could give us the meeting update from last month and then your hopes for next month. Yeah.
Okay, so we had the 25th of July, we had the July meeting. The takeaway from there, we had a report from the city of Eugene, a couple of things to take away from there. They're going to have the city of Eugene welcome walk at the U of O. You go in there, go knock on doors and say hi to people and welcome in the community. That would be on September 20th, Wednesday, from 3:30 to 5:30. You can get a hold of Cindy, and she can sign you up, and you can do that kind of stuff if you like. Reminded everybody the park survey is still open, and the multicultural assessment had over 400 respondents. There was just general discussions about a few things. Their presentation was from the Home Share Oregon presentation, which we have seen before, and then from the co-chair. Now I'll be the number one co-chair versus number two. We don't have a meeting this month, but we have a meeting in September. We get to come up with a topic of choice. We can invite somebody to give a presentation and questions and answers. What does Santa Clara want to discuss at the neighborhood meeting as far as that? Last chair wanted to bring in the home share. Ray had the presentation. is there something that we would like as a group, an organization to think about, either getting somebody to present or bringing the topic up to talk about? That's what I like to have this opportunity. They kind of kicked around a little bit of the idea of continuing, and how about you bring your ideas to us to share, and I told them no, because the unfortunate thing about this is they don't have somebody who's continuing to do this. So it's continually changing every couple months. And so this is our opportunity for SCCO to bring issues to the table. And I want to make sure that we have that ability versus just carrying the baton of something else that we maybe were or were not interested in. So somebody has topics, I'd love to get some opportunities they might have, some ideas. And if we don't get much traction with that, then we come up with something and do that next month.
Do you want people to email you?
Yeah, email me
Okay.
and with the ideas, things of that nature, of just topics that you feel you might want to visit on.
Okay. Announcements. River Road Community Organization on September 9th is hosting their River Celebration, which is all kinds of activities and things to do on the bike path between Mary Lane and Razor Park. And that's going to be from noon to 4 on September 9th, and everyone's welcome to show up. And on August 26th, there is an emergency water station demonstration at Prairie Mountain School, which is at 5305 Royal Avenue. And there's a public demonstration for that from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if anybody is curious about what that might look like in case of,
That's like the e-web.
yeah. So it's not the demonstration of the emergency water that would be at Howard. I think it's a good question. I think it's a portable emergency water. Yeah.
It might just be a distribution trailer.
So I think that's more what it is. But, okay, so any other announcements?
Wanted to add something, Kate, if I could get any comments or requests, ideas by the 28th of August, that would give us time to implement them, talk to people, things of that nature, to organize them. The week before is not the best time, but if we could get a time frame to shoot for, that would be helpful.
Okay. Updates and reports. Well, you already heard from NLC, so how about Social Justice Committee? Dawn Ledley.
Our update is we just completed an outreach to our bias response team members, and many of the people in this room are already on our bias response team. It was just a kind of performative, periodic outreach to say, hey, if you still want to be on, check in with us, make sure. I mean, we hope there aren't any incidents. We hope to not have to activate it, but it's good to have updated contacts and update people being aware that it still exists. In case we need to activate it, so that happened. Where, as you know, you may remember that we did a survey to ask how the folks wanted to get social justice education, and we were encouraged to do it. We got a positive response about having education, but we decided that every single meeting was a lot for us, so we pushed it to quarterly. And we made a plan that the next quarterly series of education will focus on ableist kind of issues. So looking at October, we were going to be talking about autism and neurodivergent issues, just kind of, education about what it's like to live with those conditions and how we can help as a community support folks who are having those challenges. January, we'll be looking at sight and blindness. And then not sure which, but in the April, July, those next 2 quarters will be some combination of mobility issues, people who have mobility challenges and aging challenges. So kind of a year of looking at ableism kinds of issues. And we are also doing some outreach, planning some collaboration with ARCO and FAN and other local groups to schedule some testimony with local elected officials, helping support local law enforcement's bias response, making sure that we are, being smart and supportive and aware that there have been a lot of recent issues, concerns raised by the Department of Justice, and recent resignation of the Newport mayor. Just wanting local elected officials to know that we're concerned and we want local law enforcement to serve and protect everyone without bias, and how can we support helping that happen so we don't trip over what some other communities have tripped over in recent history. And all aligned with our mission of educating our community and preventing harmful bias incidents.
Good question.
Yeah.
Will those be at one of the topics here, or is that an off
The
the presentation?
testimony goes, no, that's like a conversation with other ARCO and FAN also have social justice committees, and then NAACP and the local Asian and the Pacific Islander community and the Central Latino, just having a conversation to talk about how we can best support and raise concerns with local elected officials and local law enforcement. So it's a conversation off the top.
So the blindness site.
Oh, the ableism presentations, those would be, yes, presentations quartered in here at the SCCO meetings, and hopefully October, January, April, and July.
It looks like Peter signed off, so we don't have somebody to represent the garden. Anybody know information? So Tim Felker,
There are lots of it.
okay,
So if you're thinking about starting a winter garden, look at getting a plot.
I can't think about a winter garden when it's 92
You're starting your starts inside or something.
Hey, in my freezer, I'll start in the same freezer.
okay, foundation.
So we recently had a fundraiser. My wife Janine and I hosted it in Santa Clara, and it was a pretty fair turnout. We had over $3,000 of items donated for auction, for raffle, for food and drink. And we got well over $2,000 in bids and donations, and those have all been kind of handled, except for the thank you letter. So it was a great success for our first one, I think. And I think we can do more to get word out about the foundation and start turning it into an annual event. Doesn't necessarily have to be this tight, but it's something we can do that really showcases some of the work that we're doing, which we're doing a lot behind the scenes. And so that's great. Now we're on the bottle drop give program. So those are the blue bags. If anybody wants any, I have some. I got some at Kate's.
I forgot to bring
Yeah,
it
I have
tonight,
some new
sorry.
cards, but you can like me. And I think our balance now is almost $300. So, and I've already transferred money out into the bank account from there. So, and people are calling me up saying they want the bag. So it's a good day.
Will you
You're
bring
right.
them to the concert?
Sure. Yeah, I'll have to. So, that's about it. Oh, well, we're having a work party tomorrow at Highville Land in Town Park. And I didn't make an announcement because we have the Corvallis Youth Corps has been doing some work with Lane County. And so my connection with Lane County said, hey, we'll give you a half a day at Highland. And so I think it's gonna be like van loads of kids. So I'll have to put them to work. So I didn't want to rally the local volunteers in addition to a bunch of kids. So we'll see how that goes. But we do have the entrance cleaned up, and got some native shrubs planted, and we have more waiting to be planted in the fall. And we have a work plan with Lane County. And so things are running along. They've been very supportive. And we have the schoolhouse project, which is currently a little bit in limbo, but we have a lot of cogs in place. And that might be something to bring up to you guys. So one of our projects is to build a small community center using a house in Santa Clara that's in the middle of the new Santa Clara Community Park. It was built in 1901. It's small, but we want to refurbish it into a little meeting education center. It is surrounded by riparian areas, the different waterways that wind through town. So, and they're connected to the park. So there's all kinds of opportunities for education. There are orchard trees we'd love to try to save. So many people come up here and say, oh, those apples and pears, and say, we'd like to maybe do something. So that's a crop, and maybe we can figure out a way to steward those trees and then help us. Gather some funding maybe for this small education center, and so. We're a bunch of volunteers, so. And it's right behind Madison Middle School.
Yeah, we have, our education program is run by a lady named Emma Garner. And she is based out of the, I want to say McKenzie Watershed Council. She's either McKenzie or Middle Fork, I can't remember. But Emma Garner is her name. And I can, if you have some information, I can pass that on to her, or you can just get a hold of her.
Absolutely, well, and we'll just plug for a grant.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll talk to her to see what we need to, how we need to finesse that to.
And have you been in contact with a group called WIN?
I'm sorry.
Have you been in contact with a group called WIN? It's Water Resource Education Network. Okay, yeah, they do a lot of
stuff.
Yeah, they're a good resource too, but yeah, give us a holler, we can see what we can do.
Right. Land use, there's only two things. Parcel contiguous to 214 Grizzly is undergoing an annexation verification. That homeowner's plan is to build a standalone 1,600 square foot house on this open lot, which is part of what looks like a really large lot now. And 2615 Lone Oak Way, it's currently zoned R2, and there's a zone verification going on for that. So exactly what the hopes are for that, it doesn't say in the zone verification.
We don't have an owner's name for that, do we?
I don't, but one can find it on the city's land use application research website, probably. Because you can.
I know someone that does the one.
Mhm. Okay, are there other updates? That's okay. Are there other updates, anybody? And items for next meeting particularly? Anybody? Nobody? All right.
Well, again,
Oh,
I'd like to say something which might apply to this meeting.
let's hear it, John.
They're gonna come up here.
All right.
So I'm gonna start with just a general question. You walk in here and on the sign out there, it has the city emblem, okay? And I know the city furnishes funding for this organization. So how does that affect the county residents in the area since we live in a checker?
We ask the county to match the city's funding per person for the county residents. So we only get city funding for the 48% of our residents who are city residents. And the county kicks down funding for the 52% of our residents that are county residents at this point. And it's only been 2 years of county funding, which is why there has been decades of no mailing. Because we can't use city funding to mail to county residents, and only in the last 2 years has the county given us any funding at all for the residents that live inside the UGB but are unincorporated.
So I've come to a few meetings. I don't come on a regular basis due because I'm, I guess out and about, but basically I see the same group. I don't see a lot of the community involved, and it's a community organization. So there's a topic that I want to address that basically faces the whole community, whether it's the city or the county, and that's public safety. And when I look through what we talked about tonight are basically environmental and social issues. And for Rhyme City, public safety is probably the biggest issue. So I'm going to say a couple things which might affect somebody coming here to this meeting. So when we look at our area, we have mailbox thefts, we have break-ins to houses, we have speeding, we have drug activity, we have squatters on property. And a couple examples of the speeding is that like there was an accident down here on the corner of River Loop 1 and River Road. I don't know if it was a fatality or whatever, but it tied up traffic for I don't know how long. Natalie, I think it was yesterday, there was a bike rider that she swerved and missed, and then there was a speeding car that almost hit her. So, it's epidemic, and I think something needs to be done about it. So an example that has been done is the Silver Meadows had a sheriff's deputy come. There were 42 people that attended and talked about all these issues, what are your rights and what to do about it. So his name was Sergeant Tom, Spilberg. And I'm sure if we reached out to him, he would come. And I think if we really advertise it, we probably have a standing room only.
He was here just a few months ago.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've already done that.
With the sheriff, with Harold,
Uh-huh,
What's that?
with the sheriff.
With the sheriff.
Okay.
uh-huh, they were both.
So the issue is. At any given time, the sheriff's department has 2 officers covering, how many acres did he mention earlier? 1.9 million acres?
Right.
Yeah, and there's 1 person, I think, in the command center, and so something needs to be done to increase the amount of sheriff's officers that are available. And if you've had the sheriff here, we'd probably ought to bring somebody into the city. So we've got to stop the speeding on River Road. It's epidemic. I don't think I've ever seen a traffic stop in the last year on River Road. They just want to found. So I'm wondering if this could be a major issue of the Santa Clara Community Association to address this issue and collectively reach out with a statement to the county, to the city, and see if we can have some change.
We can absolutely invite the city and the county to come and present to us and have a forum to discuss what the concerns are and what the present state is and what their solutions are. And then if you want the community organization to take a position on something, you can propose that we do that and we can work on that, and absolutely.
I would go so far as to support a SCCO committee, a public safety committee. And come forward and volunteer to chair the.
John can share it.
Exactly. Well, I don't know about sharing the joint, and a lot of people I know have the same complaint, we have. Come to the meetings. We'll do a formal committee, and then you can meet and come back and give a report on ideas or speakers who'd like to have the meetings, and that would be just excellent. Because believe me, we've been hearing this for a long time.
Well, that's what, and I've been involved in the committee. I don't know if I want to chair it, but that's sure. I'd have to be involved. I just also want to share an update on LTD. And evidently, there's going to be a November plan that's going to be put together, I think, for the whole lane, for the whole district. And that as far as EMX on River Road, I don't think anything's going to happen. What's in the budget, what they're going to do, I think, is traffic signals. So I think that's something that I think is in the progress of happening. Maybe some more traffic signals. I think the person they brought in has come up with they're trying to have a development plan called right size busing. So instead of having these double buses that were designed for Philadelphia and San Francisco, they're going to evaluate the needs. And the focus is right size busing for the needs. So maybe the double buses are going to be for the U of O and moving students around, whereas out here, we might have regular size buses. So anyway, that's an update that I got from Meta Maxwell, and she shared it with me, so I thought I'd mention that tonight. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Can I add something? John, thank you for sharing that. On June 14th, I did a day-long ride along with EPD. It was really, really, opened my eyes to so many things, and I had a great time sharing with the officer. And he did say at any time if our community organization, of course, in May was when we had Sheriff Harold out, so we had just had Lane County out. But I think it speaks to something big in the community, and there's so much information, man. I could pass it on to you, but it would probably be better that they share what they have. But it's a multi-pronged reason why there's only 8 Eugene police officers on duty at a time in patrol cars. So 8 at a time.
Well, what's
And
interesting,
it's,
there was a homeless person down River Road the other day, 4 police cars. were
yeah.
there. And,
Yes.
Lynn County, I believe, has 21 officers in the sheriff department on duty at any given time. And the reason why that's happened is there's a special tax district that they passed to allow that. So to make that happen in Lane County, that's the same thing's going to happen. And I'm going to start going to city county commissioner meetings and see what I can do to help move that along, because we need more officers for protection.
Yeah,
And I agree, you're 100% right, one of my biggest pains around here is because of the traffic. People are doing on their cell phone, doing about 60, and they don't really care. 100%, and my concern is, it's unless you're gonna put money to it, unless you're gonna bring more taxes to fund those positions, it's great talking points, but they don't have the people to do any of the enforcement. It's a responsiveness. Somebody calls and says there's an issue versus we're going to be here doing this. Even if you have a radar out there and it says, hey, you're going this fast, this, it's not, people will slow down a little bit, but as soon as it's gone, they'll do something different. And so it's that enforcement that we need throughout the city, throughout the county, agree 100%. But unless we're gonna bring something that says, we're gonna bring money to the table to hire more people to do just that type of stuff, it's helpful to get our position out there and say, hey, we need more. They know that. What would we want to do from here to there? Well, let's prioritize, but it's funding. How are we gonna say, either take from here and give to here, or let's give you more money? What do we want to do for that? That's where I would ask the question is.
Well, and it could be a combination of both, reassessing funds in different areas. Some municipalities, they have on major intersections, they can electronically see your speeding and send you a ticket. So maybe we have to go to something like that. Something needs to be done for the public to say, okay, we're gonna slow down.
I would say that there's an active there's an active traffic calming project happening right now on Spring Creek Drive. So that's been needed for a long time, and finally looks like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and what about?
And they're good.
I live on the street, and there were a couple of volunteers from the sheriff's department out there at one point. Monitoring the speeds of the speed gun, so that they could give that information to the sheriff, to the county, so that they could then deal with the street in a way, because it's in front of the school. So they want to slow down
And
the
that's a
traffic.
huge traffic jam every day.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna go away.
No, I know, that's.
The speeding, and speeding down Spring Creek.
So I guess in closing, I think it would be beneficial if a committee or whatever within this organization comes up with something, a statement saying there needs to be a change, and that goes not only to the city, but the county, since we are in a checkerboard.
okay, so would you like to start a subcommittee? Because everything we do is by volunteer, so I can't be on it, I have no extra time, none, zero, I'm already working it.
I'm glad to be involved, and maybe you want to co-chair it with me since I'm in and out.
I would be happy to work with you on it. I do want to say one more thing. Eugene has money for hiring officers. They had 49 applicants only the last quarter, and they only kept 4. So as much as everything is a money issue, that is not a money issue. It's there's not people signing up, and there's not people, and they go through a rigorous training process. So I have so much to say, but I'm also not, I don't work for EPD. If anybody has the time and desires to do a ride along, I highly recommend it. It's free to the public. It's usually 4 hours long. You can do it once a quarter. I don't think they want everybody riding once a quarter, but it is great to have the communication with community members, and they could explain, a day in the life also. And then you can actually ask them hard questions and they give it right back. It's actually great. It's wonderful.
We used to have one of the patrol officers for this area, there was a time when Eugene would send them to the community organization meeting monthly. So there was an officer who would show up and be able to, but that's, I guess, not what they do anymore, but we could ask specifically.
We'll chat afterwards.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll move in the back, maybe Patty wants to say something.
No, I already got.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate your advice.
All right, we're adjourned.